Yesterday I asked, is there a shortage of husbands or wives? I got predominantly husbands. From women doesn't surprise me. Women are biased, subjective, y'all aren't analytical, and y'all don't really know psychology. But I say a shortage of wives. Why? Because for one, men are the gatekeepers of marriage. A man gets to determine if you will become a wife. That power lies with the man. It doesn't lie with the woman. I don't care what you say. Number two is men who date and actually get women understand how difficult it is to find a wife. We can date 100 women and none of them will be wives. Meanwhile, a woman only dates one or two guys, maybe three, maybe four, and your sample size is really insignificant in terms of how difficult it is to find a husband relative to the amount of guys that you just dated. Next is what it means to be a wife, or what it means to be a husband, the criteria. Criteria to be a husband, you just have to be financially stable, you have to know how to provide, you have to know how to protect. That's typically the criteria. Criteria for women, a wife was created to be a husband's support system, okay? The wife is supposed to be the husband's support system. A lot of you women are not submissive enough, do not have the mentality to where you actually compliment a man, to where you're an asset instead of a liability. A lot of y'all lack that due to your mentality, due to your values, due to your behaviors, due to your beliefs. Next is sample sizes. Men typically date more women trying to find a wife than women date men trying to find a husband. See, it's not more difficult for y'all to find a husband. It's more difficult for y'all to find a guy that you're sexually attracted to. That's what it's more difficult for y'all to find. Y'all want to be wives to the 2 or 3, 4 men that y'all have already dated but didn't end up being wives to. Men, we can date 10, 12, 15 women and only think 1 or 2 can be a wife. Y'all gonna say it's harder to find a husband when you've only dated 2 or 3 guys and you wanted to be a wife to the 2 or 3 guys that you dated at the time you was dating them. Meanwhile, it's 10, 12 guys in your friend zone who could potentially be a good husband, but because you're not sexually attracted to him and you're not in love with him, you would never know. See, it's harder for y'all to just find a guy that you're sexually attracted to, because if you're sexually attracted to him, that means you can fall in love. And if you can fall in love, that means you want to be a wife by default. Meanwhile, as a guy, I can date 30 women and only think 1 is capable of being a wife. I'm already sexually attracted to all the women that I date. So my next assessment is to see if she has the mentality, the values, the qualities that I would want in a wife. The role of a wife is to be her husband's helper. The role of a wife is to be a husband's support system. And that requires a certain type of mentality, which requires a certain type of attitude, which requires a certain type of values, and which requires a certain type of beliefs that the modern Western woman lacks, thanks to feminism. Men are attracted to the 4 F's: fertility, fecundity, fitness, and femininity. When these 4 factors start to decrease, so does your overall sexual value, and so does your wife value. Fertility starts to decrease as you get older. Typically 27 is when you hit that sexual reproductive value decline, and fertility decreases if you're a single mother, which is 83% of single households in America. Fecundity starts to decrease as you get older as well. Fitness decreases if you're obese, which is 40% of the women in America. And femininity decreases if you're combative and you're domineering. Men don't like that. Men are not attracted to that. That will be a major turnoff as a mentality as a woman if you have that. When you factor in these 4 things, that makes finding a wife even more scarce, because these are large and significant percentages of women in America. 48% of the women between the ages of 25 and 44 in America right now are currently unmarried, and that number is projected to increase to about 51% next year, which means there will be more unmarried women than married women. Why? Because the most eligible bachelors are seeing a spike in undesirable behaviors, mentalities, values, beliefs, traits that women are exhibiting that make them less inclined to want to get married. Factor in all these variables, it's easy to understand why I say that there's a shortage of wives. At the end of the day, men are the gatekeepers of marriage. You got to be worth getting down on one knee for. If you ain't worth getting down on one knee for, if you ain't exhibiting the mentality, the attitude, the beliefs, the values, the behaviors that I need you to exhibit in order to make me want to get down on one knee for you, I ain't getting down on one knee. I won't make you a wife. You don't make me a husband. I make you a wife as a man. The men y'all want or would want don't want y'all. And if they don't want y'all, it's because y'all lacking in one of those 4 areas that I stated. The guys in your friend zone, they would likely still be willing to make you a wife because they're lower value men. So they get what they can get. But y'all be wanting the highest value men. Y'all be wanting the cream of the crop. And y'all don't have nothing to offer. Y'all be wanting husbands and y'all not even ready to be wives. You got to decide if you want to be that strong, independent, competitive, combative woman, or you want to be that compromising, cooperative, submissive woman who want to stand alongside her husband. Ain't no shortage of husbands. It's a shortage of men that want to be yours.